A knock at the door? It's such a common everyday sound that we barely even think about. But for a mother and her 6-year-old daughter on a normal Tuesday afternoon, a knock was supposed to be a secret. It was their special code, a little ritual of safety between a parent and a child. But on February 6th, in the family bathroom of a busy discount store, that private signal was allegedly stolen. It was overheard and copied by a predator who used the sound of safety as a key to unlock a parent's deepest, most terrifying nightmare. This is a story of how a quick shopping trip turned into a horrifying ordeal, and how a simple knock became the start of an unspeakable crime. The Five Below store on Corwin Nixon Boulevard in Union Township, Ohio, is probably just like one you've seen before. It's a place filled with bright colors, cheap gadgets, and fun finds. A go-to spot for families. On that Tuesday, just before 3:10 p.m., the store was buzzing with shoppers. A mother was there with her 6-year-old daughter, just running a normal errand. We don't know what they were looking for. Maybe a new toy or a sweet treat. But then, a small mishap happened that every parent knows all too well. The little girl had an accident. The mom, staying calm, took her daughter to the store's family restroom to get her cleaned up. It was supposed to be a private, safe space. Once inside, the mother realized she needed a new pair of pants for her daughter. Now, leaving a 6-year-old alone, even for a second, isn't a decision any parent makes lightly. So, to make sure her daughter felt safe, she came up with a quick plan. She told her little girl to lock the door and don't open it for anyone until you hear our special knock. It was their secret password, a rhythm only they knew. With that, the mother left to grab the pants from an aisle. Believing her child was secure behind that locked door, just waiting for a familiar sound, she had no idea that her words, meant to keep her daughter safe, had just been overheard. According to prosecutors, a man was lurking near that family restroom. That man, later identified as 37-year-old Robert Kevin DeWeese, was allegedly listening to the private conversation between the mother and her child. He heard the plan. He learned the secret knock. As the mom walked off into the store, Robert allegedly went right up to that restroom door. Then came a knock. But it wasn't the mother's knock. It was a perfect copy, a fake version of the special signal that little girl was waiting for. Trusting that sound, thinking her mom was back, the 6-year-old girl unlocked the door. The man who walked in was a stranger. What happened next is detailed in police reports that outline the horrific allegations against Robert. The mother, having found a new pair of pants, came back to the restroom. She used their special knock, the real one. There was no answer. She knocked again. Her confusion likely turned to a sick feeling of dread. When the door finally opened, it wasn't her daughter. It was Robert. The scene she walked in on was every parent's worst nightmare come to life. Her daughter was inside, and it was obvious something was terribly wrong. The mother confronted Robert, who then took off and fled the store. Panicked but focused, the mother immediately called 911 to report that a man had just assaulted her young daughter. The call came in just before 3:10 p.m., and deputies from the Warren County Sheriff's Office raced to Five Below. The ordinary afternoon had been shattered, and a massive investigation was now underway. But who was this man, and how could something so brazen happen in the middle of a busy store? The details of this case are tough to get through, but understanding the warning signs and how the system responds is a huge part of community awareness. True crime isn't just about telling scary stories. It's about learning from them and fighting for justice. If you think this kind of analysis is important, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps me keep bringing these critical stories into light. Now, let's get back to the investigation, because the history of the man they took into custody is even more disturbing. Warren County Sheriff's deputies moved fast. Using the description from the mother, they tracked Robert to a relative's house about a mile away and arrested him. With Robert in custody, the immediate threat was gone, but for investigators, the work was just getting started. A grand jury in Warren County quickly indicted Robert, hitting him with a list of severe felony charges. The list is staggering: 2 counts of rape, 2 counts of gross sexual imposition, 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of abduction. These charges suggest he didn't just commit a terrible act, but also illegally held a child against her will, even for that short time, inside the bathroom. Most importantly, the rape, gross sexual imposition, and kidnapping charges all came with a sexually violent predator specification. That isn't just legal jargon, it's a big deal. This tag tells the court that prosecutors believe the suspect has a history of sexual violence and is very likely to do it again. It's a tool used to put the most dangerous and compulsive offenders away for a much longer time, to keep them away from the public. At his court appearance, Robert's bond was set at a steep $200,000 cash only, reflecting just how serious the charges are. As he was booked into the Warren County Jail, investigators dug into his past, and what they found confirmed their worst fears. The attack at Five Below wasn't a one-time thing. It was a terrifying pattern. Here's the most chilling detail of this entire case, the one that turns a shocking crime into a story of systematic failure. Robert had been released from prison just 3 days before the assault at the Five Below. He walked out of prison and within 72 hours was right back where he started, accused of the exact same kind of crime that put him away in the first place. His criminal history reads like a roadmap of predatory behavior across Ohio. Court records show that in October of 2021, he was convicted of raping a child under 13 in Fairfield County, and that wasn't even his first major sex offense. Back in 2007, he was convicted of gross sexual imposition in Claremont County. His records include arrests for sex crimes in several other counties, including Clinton, Franklin, and Licking. The prison sentence he had just finished wasn't for a new crime, but for a parole violation tied to his previous convictions. He served 3 years for that and was released. 3 days later, he was allegedly at Five Below listening at a bathroom door. Warren County Prosecutor David Fornshell did not hold back. He publicly called Robert a serial sexual offender and voiced his frustration with the system. In a public statement, David asked, "What are the odds that this happens at the exact time a serial sexual offender is in the store and eavesdropping with his ear to the door of the family bathroom?" He went on to say exactly what he thinks should happen to Robert. Someone like this should remain permanently separated from society. This history adds a horrifying context. The man accused of this crime was a known convicted predator. He had just been released from a correctional facility, only to allegedly reoffend in a terrifying short amount of time. It brings up tough questions about parole, rehabilitation, and whether our system can truly handle individuals who are at high risk to everyone around them. As of now, Robert is still in the Warren County Jail, held on that $200,000 bond, awaiting trial. The charges are incredibly serious, and with the sexual violent predator specification, he could be facing a lifetime in prison if he's convicted. This case is a brutal reminder that danger can be hiding in the most ordinary places. A store meant for family fun became the scene of a predatory attack. A secret knock, a symbol of safety between a mother and her child, was twisted and used for deception. It highlights the non-stop vigilance parents have to maintain in a world where a threat could be listening from the other side of a door. But this is also a story of incredible bravery. It's a story of a mother whose quick thinking and immediate 911 call led to a fast arrest. And it's a story of a 6-year-old girl who faced an unimaginable trauma. Some reports even mention that the child, possibly using a technique she learned at Scouts, screamed, "Stop!" as loud as she could, which may have startled the attacker and made him run. The small act of defiance in the face of pure terror is a powerful testament to her strength. The legal process will now move forward, but for parents and communities everywhere, what happened in that Five Below bathroom is a chilling lesson about the brazen nature of predators and the fragility of innocence. I want to leave y'all with one question, and I'm genuinely curious to read your thoughts in the comments. The prosecutor said someone like Robert should remain permanently separated from society, considering his long criminal history and what he allegedly did just 3 days after getting out of prison. Do y'all agree? What does a case like this say about our justice system's ability to handle repeat offenders? Let me know what y'all think in the comments below, respectfully.